This story right here is definitely going to not ruffle feathers, but it's definitely going to piss you off in more ways than one. And I found out about this story I saw it on Instagram, and also someone sent it in Discord, probably within the same hour of each other. I can't remember exactly which one I saw first, but this story right here is a tragedy, and it shows a lot of neglect on the part or in the hands of the state of Texas, especially via the city of Houston. So in this picture, you see two people. On the right, you see a man by the name of Fred Harris. Fred Harris, he's 19 years old, and on the left is Michael Ownby. So basically, what happened is Fred Harris had got picked up and arrested and put into jail with this person by the name of Michael Ownby, and Michael Ownby, who was already an inmate inside of that jail, killed Fred Harris. He basically, from what I heard, he hit his head against the concrete multiple times, and he probably got a major concussion from it and died. Probably also some other injuries occurred as well. Now, here's the thing that makes this story so tragic, even more so than his death. Fred Harris was special needs. He was special needs. Like, he needed, extra attention, things of that nature. So the biggest question coming out of this whole situation is, why was Fred Harris inside of a jail, number one? And number two, why was he put there with an inmate? If y'all knew he was special needs, then he should have been by himself, not with another inmate, because his mind was not, he wasn't wrapped too tight. So who knows? He probably maybe said something or did something or tried to do something to this other inmate, not knowing what was going on, and the inmate took it another way, and he ended up killing him. And that's the fault of the prison or the jail that he was at, knowing good and damn well that he wasn't supposed to be in there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and read this article that's coming from webcenterfairbanks.com, and it was posted November 4th, 2021. It says 19-year-old with special needs dies after Texas jail attack. A Texas family is speaking out after a loved one died after he was attacked by a man twice his size while in jail. Fred Harris, a 19-year-old with special needs, died Sunday from injuries sustained in the attack. His family said the county is to blame for his death. Dallas Garcia, Fred Harris's mother, said she went to the Harris County Sheriff's Office as soon as she found out her son, who had intellectual disabilities, was in jail. He was booked on October 11th on charges of aggravated assault. I came down immediately and told them, I said, this is not a place for him, and he'll never understand, Garcia said at a news conference Wednesday. So I spoke with the deputy. We called the medical staff, and I didn't leave until I got some answers. And when I left, they said that my son would be okay. I thought he would be safe and okay. Authorities said Harris died after a fight with another inmate on Friday. Court records show the other inmate, 25-year-old Michael Ownby, allegedly bashed Harris's head against the concrete floor, kicked him, and stabbed him. He was put with a 240-pound individual proven to be extremely violent and who had manufactured a knife in the jail, said Randall Callanan, the family's attorney. Callanan explained the attack happened the month after a lawsuit was filed against the county by some Harris County jail employees, alleging unsafe working conditions due to the jail being understaffed. Jeff Reese, a retired Harris County Sheriff's Office sergeant now with the Houston Peace and Justice Center, said he witnessed some of the problems firsthand. If the problems had been addressed, we wouldn't be standing here. Reese said at the news conference this young man wouldn't have lost his life. Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez released a statement Wednesday afternoon saying Mr. Harris' death is a tragedy and adds to the increasing number of lives taken violently in every corner of our society this year. We are determined to ensure that his killer faces justice, and we extend our condolences to Mr. Harris's family. Well, not only does the person responsible for killing him needs to face justice, but the people responsible for putting him in that cell needs to face some repercussions as well. Because if he was not put in there with this guy, he will most likely still be alive. They knew damn well not to put him in there. They knew he was special needs. And my thing is, why did they go after him? They said aggravated assault. Now, this story should sound familiar with another story we've heard in the last year, and that's Elijah McClain. You know, Elijah McClain was special needs as well. And but only his was he didn't make it to a jail. He was killed right there on the street by these cops because, you know, they never take the mental illness capacity of a black person seriously. Another story I remember, and I don't know if I talked about it, I must have talked about it in maybe in another type of video, but that wasn't pertaining to that one, was the one in Georgia where you had the black man who I think he used to be in ROTC or something like that, and he had some, you know, mental disabilities himself, and he walked out of his house butt naked, like no clothes on whatsoever, and someone called the cops, and the cops pulled up and they shot and killed this man. And I'm like, he had no weapon on him, he had no clothes on, nothing, not even any underwear, he had nothing on, he walked out of his house naked, and they shot and killed him. Like, what weapon did he possess? Now, what do all three of these guys have in common besides them being besides their mental illnesses? All three of them are black, and all three of them were killed mainly due to the neglect of these piss poor cops. We can even throw Sandra Bland in there, but she, you know, she didn't have a mental disability, but she was found dead inside of her cell in Texas, the same state he was found dead in. Not the same jail, but in the same state. And she too was apprehended by a cop. And it all goes back to the mental illness, disabilities, or whatever you want to call it, when it comes to black people in America not being taken seriously. But they'll take it seriously when it comes to that of a palm color person. Remember that one white guy who I talked about maybe last year, over a year ago? It was probably over a year ago because this was definitely pre-Wove. Who it was in Virginia, and he literally escaped from somewhere. He had killed 2 people, and he was running around ass naked. He almost killed the 3rd person, and had that damn cop who was had this big ass gun running away from him. He had the open opportunity to shoot and probably kill that man, but he chose not to. He chose to run like a little bitch with this gun in his hand and let this crazed maniac run around and chase him in an open field. I'll never forget that. But when it comes to black people, you got to question if they actually have a disability or not. You got to question if they have a mental illness, even though it's heavily documented. This is like really messed up. Like, I feel like this kid, I know he's 19, but they like, you know, when someone who's like that, they might be an adult, but their mind is childlike. I think I had read somewhere where they said he was 19-year-old with the mind of a 12-year-old. So physically, like age-wise, he's an adult, but mentally he's a child. So you have to handle him as if you were handling a child, because that's basically how mental disability like his goes. They age the correct way, but their brain does not age with them physically in their physical appearance. So you have to handle them with kid gloves, which definitely did not happen here. And I also read somewhere else, because I wanted to wait until I read the entire article before I actually got to this point. I had read somewhere that the person is Michael Ownby who killed him, that last year he had got into some kind of altercation then that I think led to why he's in jail now. And they put him in there. They knew, that's the part that gets me. They knew that this Michael Ownby was dangerous. They knew that. Usually when they put somebody in a cell by themselves, that means that they have committed a crime so heinous or crime so bad that they do not want to risk putting another inmate in there with them. But they put a special needs boy. I'm referring to him as a boy, even though he's 19, but mentally wise, and like I said, he was like a mind of a 12-year-old. They put a mentally ill, not ill, but a special needs person in a cell with another person who was considered to be very dangerous and should not have been in a cell with anybody. They put him in there with someone, they said about 240 pounds. and he killed him. He just said he bashed his head against the concrete, hit him, and stabbed him. And now he's dead. I hope that the family of this of Fred Harris goes after all of them. Unfortunately, that means if there's any lawsuit to happen or anything, wrongful death or whatever the case may be, it's going to come out of the taxpayers' pockets, unfortunately, because I highly doubt that the prison's going to hold themselves accountable. And see, this Michael Ownby, he's already in jail, so it's not like they can take him to jail. They can only get him on the charges. And speaking of the charges, they didn't even mention the charges here, but I remember them mentioning the charges in another article that I had read. They had said he only got hit with some charges like some kind of assault. It was some low-level charge. I'm like, do you realize this guy bashed this guy's head against the concrete and stabbed him? And it's like they completely negated that he stabbed him. He's dead. There should be some murder charges attached to this. But there were no murder charges in sight. They made it seem like like they had an equal footing with each other, where they were beating each other up. And that wasn't the case. So it's so many things wrong with this story. So many. And it looks like this is going to be one of those stories I'm going to have to keep my eye on, because I want to see what the developments is with this story. And I'm sure that now that y'all are out there listening to the sound of my voice talk about this story, y'all are going to help me stay on top of it, because like I said, I get hit with so many stories every single day. Man, listen. I offer my condolences to his family. Like, I'm sure they are going through it right now, because I'm looking at a picture of his mother, and she's standing at the podium talking, and she's looking like she's fighting back tears, which rightfully so. Like, they murdered her child was murdered, and that could have easily been avoided. And watch, they probably going to try to cover this up. They already trying to cover it up with the lack of charges that they're giving to the guy that killed him. But he's not the only one that's responsible. As a matter of fact, he's probably on the low end, because if they never put him in the cell with this guy, this would not have happened. If he wasn't even picked up and arrested, this would not have happened. But they only do this with black people, even if they have a mental illness or a mental disability. When we have something that is actually diagnosed in a book, on paper, or in a computer by a doctor, even when they're prescribed meds, we're still seen as the big black boogeyman, or boogie woman, however you want to put it, boogie person. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments.